All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the last episode of the Fit Vegan podcast. Yes, you heard it right. This will be the last episode of the Fit Vegan podcast. We're going to be going through a few changes in my personal life and in the content that we're putting out. I'm going to share with you exactly why. So, I just came back from my trip to Hawaii for 2 weeks, which the first week was a love, passion, relationship, private platinum member trip with Tony Robbins. And I had Ivy with me because it was a relationship trip. And there was so many amazing breakthroughs and tools that we've learned to help us level up our relationship. There's one specific breakthrough that happened during that time that I didn't expect. That's changing the next chapter of my life, which I'm extremely excited about. So listen fully because the podcast is not going away. I'm simply going to be changing the name of the podcast. So the breakthrough that happened is Tony kind of had put us through a series of exercises, and I was just in a state of pure centeredness. And the exercise was write down, my soul knows, and I wrote down, my soul knows that I won't be able to be a king without my queen, without Ivy, that I won't be able to accomplish the things I want to accomplish without having her by my side. And I wrote down a bunch of different things. But one of the things that came in that I didn't expect at all because I was just flowing and writing was that, and I'm going to try not to cry by sharing this, I realized what I had been doing with Fit Vegan and with my life for the past almost 3 years since Jennifer, my ex-partner who had cancer, passed away. I realized that subconsciously, I thought that by helping those 10,000 people by 2033, those million people by 2050, which is our mission statement for the company, that it would somehow make me feel better about the fact that I wasn't able to save Jen. And coming to that realization was huge because for the past 8 months, I've been miserable. I've just not been having fun growing Fit Vegan. I've not been having fun in the things that I've been doing in my life, and I just couldn't understand why. I have an amazing life. I travel all the time. I work for myself. I have an amazing relationship. I have a great life. I live in Los Angeles. It's sunny. Like, my life is pretty fucking awesome compared to what it was before. And I just couldn't understand why I was getting more miserable, more anxious, and more depressed over the course of the past 8 months leading up to me leaving to Hawaii. And when I realized, like, man, I've been living my life for Jen even after she passed away. For those of you that don't know, I was 22 years old when I met Jen, and when she got diagnosed with cancer, I became her caregiver. And, our relationship was almost 5 years until she passed away. So for all of our relationship, I was basically her caregiver. And after she passed away, I just kept myself busy. I jumped into Fit Vegan. I just wanted to grow it. Had this big mission that I want to help all these people. But then I realized at the event that, like, man, even if I help those 10,000 people by 2033, even if I help those million people by 2050, it won't change the fact that I wasn't able to save her. And that created a lot of negative patterns and negative thoughts in my life, and that I never felt like I was enough because I wasn't able to save her. And I thought that by helping all those people, it would make me feel better about the fact that I wasn't able to save her. And when I had that realization, when I had that breakthrough, I just cried. It was such a deep emotional cry for 30 minutes straight in Ivy's arm in the middle of the conference. I just couldn't stop crying. And it was basically me just accepting that it wasn't my place to save Jen. God had a plan for her. God made it so that I would be there to help her and love her through the last chapter of her life, and that she would be there to love me and teach me into the next chapter of my life. Because I wouldn't be the man that I am today without the things that I've learned from her and without that 5 years of my life. I wouldn't be the right man that would be able to be in a relationship with a woman like Ivy. She's a very strong, powerful woman, and I wouldn't be able to be in a relationship with her if I hadn't gone through what I went through. And so I just came to this state of just letting all the emotions out of, it's okay that I wasn't able to save her. It wasn't my place to save her. God had a different plan for the both of us. And after I was done crying for 30 some minutes, I just came to this neutral place. And I just realized that, Jen almost passed almost 3 years ago now. that I have been still living my life for Jen. You know, I gave her half of my 20s pretty much. I'm 30 years old now. So, you know, I gave her 8 years of my life between 22 and 30. I gave her 8 years of my life to focus on this aspect. And when I came to this realization in this neutral place, I just realized now it's time to live life for me. It's time for me to do the things that I want to do for me. In the past 8 months, I've been dabbling, right? 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot into Fit Vegan, 1 foot into other things. And as you guys probably know, I started another podcast called the Maxime Sigouin podcast, right? I just wanted to have a podcast that I could talk about whatever it is that I wanted. I recorded probably 6 episodes and I was like, this is too much work to run 2 podcasts. I'm just going to put a pause on it. And so coming to that place of neutralness and being, what is it that I want to create? What is it that I want to put out into the world? And I just started writing. And for the past, last week of Hawaii, I've been kind of crystallizing these thoughts. I've been crystallizing these thoughts since I kind of came back home in LA. I just realized like the thing that I've always wanted to do since I was 15 years old was I wanted to help people the way that Tony helps people. So Tony Robbins, if you're not familiar, which I got a chance to meet him, talk with him, take a photo with him, which I'm very excited. You guys are going to see once I get the professional photos sent to me, I'm going to have that shit framed on my wall behind my office. If you're listening on YouTube, I'm going to have that picture framed. I've been waiting 15 years for this photo. But I've always had this internal desire to help people live to their fullest potential. And to me, I've done that through fitness, right? Fitness is the thing that gave me confidence, that gave me mental fortitude, that gave me staying power, right? When Jen was sick, the fact that I was able to stay and be mentally strong enough to show up all came through pushing myself physically. And so there's a brand that I've been wanting to start for the longest time now, but it just wasn't aligned with the mission that I had with Jen. But now is the time for me to jump into it, right? I just wrote down in my Instagram stories today, the next chapter of my life, the title of the next chapter of my life is called Fuck It, right? Fuck it. I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm going to build what I want to build. I'm going to live life for myself and for my family. And the people that are not happy with it can be not happy with it and can unsubscribe, can unfollow me, can do all of these things. But I'm tired of living my life for others, and it's time for me to live my life for myself. Again, 8 years out of my 20s to 30s was given to someone else, was living for someone else, was not living for myself. It's fuck it time, right? It's time for me to build what I want to do, talk the way that I want to talk, create the things that I want to create. If you guys know me, some of you know me personally, I'm a very intense person. I wouldn't have been able to have the level of success that I have in my life and achieve all the things that I've achieved in my life and gone through the shit that I've gone through in my life if I wasn't a little bit nuts, if I was a little bit intense when I want to accomplish a goal. And that's the energy that I want to bring to this next chapter of my life, right? I got this new tattoo, and it's a tattoo of a lion because I'm ready to be the king of my kingdom. I'm ready to just unleash and be who I want to be, which is honestly just being the authentic me, which I haven't been able to be fully out of fear of it not fitting in the image of the story that I had for myself about what I went through and what I was looking to create. So this may sound like a lot for you guys, but I just wanted to be fucking vulnerable and be genuine and share, because I think that's the thing that's the most powerful. Ivy and I got to share kind of our story and our relationship at the platinum trip with Tony. And we had a ton of people come in after and be like, that was so powerful, that was so impactful, when we didn't think that it was. And so I hope that what I'm sharing today will help someone just live their fucking life for themselves, honestly, because it sucks and eventually you become miserable. And so the realization that if I would have went and helped those 10,000 people in Million by 2050, I would have been left feeling empty. That's the same thing of saying like, when I make $10,000 a month, then I'll be happy, which I've done. And it didn't change my life. When I make $500,000, then I'll be happy, which I've done. Hasn't made me happy. When I make $1 million a year, then I'll be happy. Won't make you happy, right? You'll feel great for a couple minutes, maybe a day, and then it's going to go away. And then you're just going to go back to your regular life. And so it was the same thing with the number of people that I wanted to help. If I helped 10,000 people, 1 million people, 50 million people, it still would have never filled the hole that was in my heart about the fact that I wasn't able to save her. And so realizing that now, I don't want to go down that path anymore. I don't want to go down this path that's just going to leave me feeling emptied. And I just want to build what I want to build. So to kind of bring it all together, I'm just changing the name of the podcast to the Maxime Sigouin podcast, right? Because we have over 100,000 downloads on this podcast platform. It would be stupid for me to not use it, right? So I'm gonna be smart about it, and I'm gonna keep the listeners that we have here. If you guys want to continue subscribing, right? Continue listening to the podcast episode. I would appreciate it. If this no longer fits what you wanted out of it, I totally understand. Feel free to unsubscribe, not listen to the podcast episode. Like I mentioned, the next chapter of my life is fuck it. I want to do what I want to do, and the people that will be attracted to that will come, and the people that won't will just simply step away and go somewhere else. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's just what life is ultimately. And so I want to change it to my name because I will be honest, the name Fit Vegan has been a massive limitation when it has come to having some of the guests that I want to have on the show, because they are not vegan, but they're massive experts in their field, and they just don't want to be associated with the word vegan, which again, I completely understand. I would never go on a podcast that's called carnivore or something, right? I just don't want to be associated with that. So I totally understand where they're coming from, but it sucks because they have so much valuable information to share with you guys. And I want to be able to bring that information regardless of how this person's eat. Right. And so by changing the podcast name to my name, it's neutral. It's my life. I can talk about whatever I want to talk about. Right. I want to be able to talk about relationships. So you're listening to this podcast on what came out on Wednesday. Next week will be the first podcast with my fiance Ivy, where we're going to do a recap on the relationship trips, the breakthrough, the tools that we've learned. We want to be able to share that with you guys. I want to be able to talk about life, business, fitness, finances, nutrition, right? I'm always going to be vegan for a lifetime. I'm always going to be pro-vegan. I just don't want the podcast to be just about that, because there's so many other areas to life that we tend to neglect when we're just focused on one thing, right? For example, I was speaking to one of my business mentors who told me that, some of the students that he helps, he's trying to talk about relationship and all these things. And they're like, I don't want to know about that, Vince. I just want to know how to make money like you. But you have to understand that if you want a certain level of fitness, if you want a certain level of income, there's a package that comes with that. Because if you're going to be obsessed towards one direction, other areas of your life are going to be neglected. And I want to build a balanced life, and I want to help people do the same thing. Growing up, I was always told that I had a lot of potential. I had no idea what the fuck that meant, right? And it frustrated me because I was like, well, if I have all this potential, how can I use it? How can I maximize it? And I've learned how to do that throughout the years. And I am still learning. I'm going to continue learning until the day that I die. But I want to be able to bring the knowledge and the life experiences that I have, which I have a lot at this point, to you guys. But I just felt very limited in doing that with the name Fit Vegan. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday, in 2 days from now, I'm going to be changing the name of the podcast. So I wanted to make this little announcement, explain why, give you a heads up. So when you search for the podcast name, it'll show up as a different name. All right. So that's the change that I'm going to be making. I'm also going to be launching a new coaching brand for Black Friday in November. So for those of you listening that are Fit Vegan lovers, don't worry about it. Fit Vegan will always exist. My coach, Sarah, who's our head coach, will be the one running Fit Vegan. If you want to continue to improve your body composition, get healthier, develop a healthier relationship with food, improve your body composition on a whole food plant-based diet, Fit Vegan will always be available for you, right? If you go to fitvegancoaching.com, you'll have all the information that you need to book your call and ultimately be able to work with us, right? But I'm going to be creating this new brand, which I'm going to call it X for now. I already have the brand, I already have the domain and everything. But I want to keep it a secret until I launch it. So this will be a men's exclusive program, right? So this one will be for men only. It'll be more intense. It'll be how I live my life, right? I don't meal prep. I don't really cook that much. I run several companies. I don't have time to do any of this. I personally I would much rather use a meal prep company that will cook the food and ship it to my house, because the value of my time if I'm working on the businesses versus if I'm cooking, I'm losing money if I'm cooking, and it doesn't make sense to me, right? And the more money I have, the more freedom I have to live the life that I want and have the impact that I want. I still love donating to cancer patients. That will always be a part of who I am, because I understand how much it sucks when you're someone caring for someone that you love, and the one thing that's preventing you from helping them feel better is fucking money, because you don't have money to pay for the right treatments. You don't have money to buy the right foods or to do the right things, right? I understand how frustrating that is. And if I'm being honest with myself, that's one of the big reasons why I'm in business. I want to make a fuck ton of money in case if one day my fiance gets sick, I can buy her the best treatments in the world. If my mom gets sick, if my dad gets sick, if my brothers get sick, I can fly them anywhere in the world to get the best treatment possible, right? That's why I do all of it. I want to be able to give that to them because that's important to me, because I know there's nothing that feels more powerless than not being able to help the people that you love feel better because you don't have enough fucking money. And so that's why I have multiple businesses, because that's the kind of life I want to create for myself. Just being honest, never shared that on podcast before. So be launching a new brand, which will be more intense. It's basically how I live my life, how I'm able to build businesses, make money, get fit, get a six pack, compete in half Ironman, do all this cool shit. That's what I'm going to be teaching in that program, right? It'll be very intense. Again, I'm open to having women in that program, but you need to have a strong masculine energy if you're going to be jumping into that. If not, no worries. The Fit Vegan coaching program is a lot of a more softer approach to training and nutrition. It's more focused on getting a healthier relationship with food and with the body. And that's the perfect program for that. You'd be in amazing hands with Coach Sarah. She's been with me since day one, basically building that company and that coaching practice. But this new program is going to be more intense. This is going to be for the high achievers, people always told had a lot of potential, that want to be able to maximize it, that want to go to the next level in their life, in their mindset, in their relationship, in their business, in their finances, and everything else. Right. So that's my little announcement for you all. This is what's coming. So again, the name of the podcast will change in a few days after this episode comes live. And the new pro coaching program will be launched in November. So for the ladies listening, if you want your man to go through it, let them know. Just stay tuned for like around Black Friday is when I'm going to be announcing it. And I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you that supported the Fit Vegan podcast throughout the years. We've been at it for over 3 years now. And it's crazy how much, amazing lives we've been able to transform. Again, disclaimer, the Fit Vegan coaching program will still exist and will always continue to exist. I will still do interview with the Fit Vegan success stories, but I will also do success stories with the new coaching program that we're going to have. And I want to be able to bring on different guests to talk about various topics to help you ultimately improve your life in all areas. Because I'll be honest with you, you can be super fit and broke, and that's going to suck. You can have a ton of money and be fat, and that's going to suck. You can have a lot of money and be fit, but have a terrible relationship. Guess what? That's going to suck, right? So I want to be able to help you all level up these areas of your life that are going to increase the quality of your life and the fulfillment that you're going to be able to have in your life. So here's to the next freaking chapter of my life, building what I want to build, living life for myself, having the impact that I want to have, and just saying, fuck it. The people that love it are going to love it, and the people that are not going to love it are not going to love it. And I'm okay with that. So thank you for those of you guys that will stay and those of you guys that are going to be leaving. I respect you making that decision. I appreciate your time that you spend on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, wherever you're listening to this. And I will see you guys in the next episode with Ivy with the new branding.